my local band opened for the Outlaws one year at the Flower Festival, which is equivalent to the Porterville Fair in Lompoc. And what was the question again?
Talking about drugs.
Oh, yeah. And I could never. That is not an ironic comment, Pesto.
No drugs were used during the course of this podcast. Well, maybe they were. Maybe they should have been.
And it's another Mike and Mike's off-air podcast. We've got to be closing in on 80 at this point, Michael.
We're not closing in on it. We are there.
Oh, that's 80?
Yeah.
Very cool.
That's what happens after 79, I guess. You're closer to it than I am.
Let me take my shoe off. Hold on. Carry the one. This is Mike O'Neill on the new My 97.5.
Mike Pesto with you as well. Always online as well on YouTube. Thanks for subscribing. Hopefully you do. You have. In fact, I was inspired by last week's video for the Mike and Mike's Off-Air podcast that officially became my what to watch suggestion because Hector, our promotions coordinator, just did a great job with those, adding in little things, little references that we'll say, and stuff that he'll put up on the video only, out of context in some cases, but damn funny. So Hector, keep up the great work.
It was funny when I was listening back and I was watching it, I went right where he put in the rim shot. And I was like, all right, you read my mind. Nice. Anyway.
So, yeah, we're having a blast with those. So please do follow us on YouTube. Hit the button to make sure you get alerts with everything. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. That way, everything that pops up there, these videos, other things will post as well. Everything gets posted. And, of course, we always have that content online at my975fm.com where, as I slap my readers on because I need them, there's a new poll question that's up there I want to ask you about.
Okay.
Only 20% of us admit to being picky eaters.
Okay.
Would you consider yourself a picky eater? And then what does that mean to you? Because it means different things to other people.
Honestly, no. I mean, I dislike very few foods or spices. I mean, anywhere you take me, I'll find something. And I mean, you can take me to any one of any kind of exotic menus. All I got to do is find my way to something that looks a little bit like beef or chicken. I'm in. Bring me in again. That's probably rice. All right. Yeah. Okay. A lot of times my wife likes to eat Thai food. She likes to eat Indian food, and that's not my number one choice. But I'll find something on the menu. I'm pretty easy. I mean, I am clearly a steak and potatoes kind of guy, a beef and potatoes kind of guy, but you can take me just about anywhere. I'll find something. I'm not hard.
Those are famous last words. It looks like rice.
Yeah. Well, my wife.
If you ever saw Lost Boys, that looked like rice too.
Okay, well, that's not what we're talking about over here. My wife is big. My wife can't do a lot of carbs at all. And so she's a zoodles girl, zucchini noodles. She will make another cauliflower rice.
Okay.
To which I'm a no and no. But she loves them, and they treat her body well, so more power to her. I'll take the French fries and the rice, please.
For me, a picky eater, the hard and fast rule, if you will not even try something based on look, appearance, or smell, that is like the defining criteria of being a picky eater, in which case, yes, absolutely, I am a picky eater. I don't know if you've ever been to a Polish restaurant that only serves Polish food. I may have talked about this previously, but it's a perfect tie-in with this question. Again, please do.
Where was this? Somewhere else you've lived or visited?
Yeah, outside of Chicago. Weigh in on the question, again, at my975fm.com. Let us know if you're a picky eater. If you've got a story to tell, share it as well. But, in Chicago, not many people know this unless you've lived there. There's a huge contingent of Polish immigrants who've settled in like one part of Chicago in particular, actually several parts. They have a Chinatown. They have a Koreatown. They don't have a Polish town, but there's an area of the city that a lot of the street names have Polish names, and it's just a Polish community. And some of the suburbs as well, like Des Plaines being one of them, where my grandmother lived. And she knew every single one of those Polish restaurants.
I'll bet.
And some of the food that they have, like gołąbki and pierogies and some other things that...
Pierogies I've heard of, although I couldn't tell you what they were.
A lot of it is cabbage-based stuff.
I can deal with that.
Oh, not until you walk in. There was one place we went to in particular. There's this huge dining hall. Again, all Polish food. As soon as you walk in, you open the double doors because Midwest, everything has double doors because keep the rain out, the snow out, the sleet out. So you open the second set of doors and it just hits you.
Boom.
Like a wall. Fermented cabbage is like, oh, that smell. If I think about it too much, my mouth will start to water, and I'm going to have to look for this bucket over here.
Hey, now.
I'm going to use it.
We're losing it. No, I get it, because one of the things I do like as an Irishman is corned beef and cabbage. I certainly don't love the way it smells. There's something going on with the cabbage as well there, and it's like, oh, God. Just like another thing that doesn't taste like it smells. It's amazing to me that I love, oh, God, what's the holiday drink?
Eggnog.
Yeah, eggnog. Eggnog does not smell great,
No,
but it tastes delicious.
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
Well, again, this is where the defining criteria of being a picky eater. I have never had eggnog because the consistency looks nasty in conjunction with the smell.
It's a sipper. It's not a chugger. It's a sipper.
Cannot do it. What's odd is, my wife picked up on this when we had our honeymoon, that when it comes to meats, any protein, then I'm not picky at all.
Yeah.
I will have ostrich. I think I did on our honeymoon. I had ostrich. I had a choice. The last night we went to a restaurant we hadn't gone the whole time we went to St. Martin in the Caribbean. And there's a restaurant that we found the last night. They had ostrich, alligator tail on the menu.
You got to try it.
And I'd never tried either one. I'm like, I can't have both because they were damn expensive. So I'm like, I could do one, and at some other point, I will have the other. And at that point in my life, I had seen alligator tail on the menu in places, and I'd never seen ostrich. So I'm like, you know what? I'll try the ostrich. Since then, I've not seen alligator tail anywhere. So if anyone knows of any restaurants in the Valley.
Yeah, they don't have that at the VP. I've checked. But in any event, you do have to try it. And I've tried some things that oh, God.
How about frog legs? Have you done frog legs?
I tried them, didn't like them.
See, I've had good ones, and I've had, I'll just say, slimy ones, and just
that was the thing for me. They had a catfish restaurant on the west side of Tulare for a while.
Yes, they did.
It's gone now,
and they serve frog legs too.
Both, and that's right. That's where I hadn't tried them up till then. That's not something that it's like. What deviled, pickled eggs, pickled. All the things that are pickled in 7-Eleven stores? No.
Again,
first of all, they've been there since 1942. And anyway, but no. Anyhow, but I tried, and my father-in-law made me kind of, I said, okay, I'll try it. And now I'm not going to remember what the hell they're called. Uncooked. It's a fish product. And they were uncooked. You
not
like
sardines.
Them. You like them. It's not a fish. It's a God. Now we're gonna have to come back to the product category. But oh my God, it went down the second it touched. It came right back up, and I just knew it would. And it was a consistency thing. It was just a slime circle.
That's like raw oysters for me.
That was the one.
So I don't like those.
That was the
when
one.
You said I liked those.
I remembered that you liked
those.
No,
I have a story about them and how much. Again, first time I ever had them was with my in-laws. And I kept it down only because I can't have their first memory of me being he threw up all over our kitchen island.
No, I got to the bathroom, but only barely. Man, that was just. Oh.
She even told me you can spit it up in the napkin. I'm like, no, it's fine.
It's just delicious.
It's just one night.
No, I'm like, how do you love these, Tony? My father-in-law, he just, oh my God, they're heaven for him. Like meatball subs for my father. My father-in-law just, oh God, he's in heaven. Nope, that's not for me. And I've tried just about everything.
Okay.
And and I think we have a similar thing here. Since we both love meat, I know that my 10-second rule extends to about a half an hour.
Oh, geez, yes.
When it comes to meat, and unless I'm standing dead center in the middle of the porta potty, it's it's a pretty open 10-second rule.
If it's not done and it hits the ground, you could always wash it off, put it back on the grill, finish it up, and it's just fine.
I've done that. My daughter, who is the female Howie Mandel, if I were to do that, she would throw up thinking about it. For me, I'm like, it's 450 degrees in there. There's nothing alive in there. And so,
So I've been sitting on this for a while now.
Okay.
I want to find out how you feel about this.
Shoot.
Sharon Osbourne, open to the idea, and why it's her call to make on this, I don't know, but they asked her, of a Black Sabbath hologram tour. They have their final concert, Black Sabbath does, coming up in July of this year. And apparently Sharon was asked about it, talked about it, and everything else, and somehow it got into asking her about a hologram tour. She said, yeah, sure I would. Technology keeps moving on and on. You can do incredible things now, so think what you can do in 5 years or even more. You never know what the opportunities are.
You're asking me. For me, a hologram tour is just a 3D video. It's just watching a 3D video. There's nothing live going on. There's no personality going on. Mm-hmm. It doesn't do much for me. I'm a no. I love, I'm a Pink Floyd fan, and I've told you about Brit Floyd, the tribute band, and how good they are, and they are. Now, I'll go see that because that's live musicians raising up an incredible band that will never tour again, and they really do sound so much like them that it's terrifying. But I just don't know that I'd go pay money to see a 3D live video.
There's something for me about at least the feeling as though, and artists have said this, I mean, we've interviewed them, we've heard conversations with them, I'm sure everyone has, where they tell you they feed off the energy of the audience.
Yes.
A hologram isn't going to feed off the energy of anything.
No.
However, what Sharon says alludes to something else.
What's that?
And you and I kind of talked about this when I first saw this story, and I told you I'd been sitting on it for a while. Put AI in the mix. Suddenly with AI, it can sense the crowd's energy. It can see a sign in the audience and know exactly where it is, and maybe the AI hologram can actually point to the person holding the sign that says, "We love you," and actually say, "I love you too," and go right into whatever their big heavy hitter song is. So you feel as though he pointed right at me. Well, his AI hologram pointed right at you, but it gives you the illusion as though they are tying into the audience. They are feeding off the audience's energy.
That makes me nervous because then AI Digital Ozzy might bite the head off of an AI Digital Bat, and that just scares me.
Forget about Mike. That's going to happen. So with that, with the illusion of, if you could surrender your disbelief, because let's think about it. When you go to the movies, a lot of it is suspension of disbelief. If you could surrender that at a hologram show and have it be so realistic, and maybe the technology will be there in a few years, that you actually, it doesn't look like holograms. I know Whitney Houston had a hologram show in Las Vegas, I want to say just before the pandemic, and it never came back after the pandemic. I don't know how it was reviewed. It was, obviously the family said it was okay to do it. I don't know if she ever would have approved it, but if the technology does improve, like Sharon was saying, in 5 years, where it actually does look like them on stage, interacting with the crowd, would you put that then in the same category as a cover band? Because it is still the music. It still does sound live and feel live and look like them.
If it were a big flying array, a big sound system that delivers a legitimate boom feeling live sound system, it would definitely be interesting. It would depend on the band. It would depend on the band.
Very fair.
I don't go to see every one of the bands that I like, because some are great live and some made great records. And I've seen just about everybody I want to see. Multiply, in fact. Styx 3 times.
Okay.
But Journey twice. Cloister Cult 3 times.
See, this is something, and now I'm thinking of a venue in particular that I know we've talked about before, the MSG Sphere in Las Vegas.
Yeah. That'd be the place.
This will get you. Pink Floyd hologram show at the MSG Sphere with AI technology.
That would be a show. It wouldn't be a Pink Floyd concert.
No, it's something else.
It would be a Pink Floyd extravaganza. It would be an homage to Pink Floyd. That would be cool as long as it wasn't $300. Because I'm not going to go pay $300 to see a movie. Yeah. A 3D movie.
And that's basically what it is.
Yeah.
I tend to agree with you. I was all against it up until now. I'm thinking of again. I'm thinking of the Beatles. Obviously, two of their members are no longer with us, so they can't get all back together. Pink Floyd just have said there's bridges have been burned, scorched, and
all of the big bands are in that category.
Yeah.
Zeppelin's done. The Who. I mean, it's down to just Pete and Roger, and they play the same 4 songs every time they're live.
At some point, Mick Jagger will no longer be with us.
Oh, you want to laugh? I've got to throw this in.
Yeah.
Did you hear recently where the Who fired the drummer that they've been touring
Yes.
with?
Yeah.
Well, for overplaying, and I had to laugh. Really? They fired him for overplaying? They used to play with Keith Moon. Have you ever seen Keith Moon play? He about knocks all the drums off stage all show long. So I was like, oh, that's just what? And then they hired him right back.
Well, did you hear who it was, though? You haven't mentioned the name yet.
Zach's last name is... It was Zach something, wasn't it?
Yes.
Starkey?
And you know who that is, don't you? Ringo Starr's son.
Yes, that I heard
Yes.
about that.
So, yeah, they had Ringo Starr's son was the drummer and apparently was fired. I didn't know it was for overplaying. I just heard that he had been let go, and then he went on his socials.
That's what they said.
And he sang their praises. Listen, I understand the band had to go in a different direction. Still love them, but now you're saying they hired him back.
Yeah, right now, go on YouTube and look up the "Who Are You" video, and watch Keith Moon. How he was alive after that, I'm not sure, but it's some of the most incredible, on-point overplaying you'll ever see in your life. And I don't think Zach could play quite like that. But the point is, really?
See, that's another group. Speaking of drummers that I would see at the MSG Sphere full hologram AI show is Rush.
I've
with
seen
Neil
them
Peart.
live twice.
I've seen them live once. I was supposed to see them a second time. Never got a chance to, but Neil Peart, who was their drummer, wrote all the lyrics for all their songs once he joined the band. He was the late. A lot of bands, the drummer always seems to be the late arrival to the group for whatever reason. And that was the case with Rush.
But the first album was good with Rutsy.
It was.
It was a good. I mean, that's the
Working
the
Man
album
was off
that had
that first
Working
album.
Man on
Yep.
that one. And no, that's Finding My Way. That's on the second album. But yeah, it was really, really great. And I learned a lot about sound systems because of Rush. I got to go see 2112.
Okay.
It was in L.A. at the Fabulous Forum. And I shirked security because sometimes you can only go into where you're seating. I went all the way down and I wanted to walk all the way up to the stage because I wanted to see this mountain of amplifiers that excuse me, that I was certain that their guitarist was playing through because they were so damn loud. And I got up there and he had 2 twin Music Mans on the stage. That's it. 2 relatively small amps on the stage. But I looked up and it was the advent of flying arrays, and that thing was from outer space. It was gigantic. And I was like, oh, that's not where the bang's coming from. The bang's coming from up top. And that's when I really learned about how because it used to be Ted Nugent and his 49 guitar cabinets, tearing the back end out of Dodger Stadium or whatever. But no. I just found that very interesting. How is he with the... Oh, I get it now.
If I can remember, when we do our What to Watch suggestions later on this week, Friday is when we always put those out. There's a documentary about Rush on Netflix.
Right now?
Yeah, it was on there, then they took it down. Then when Neil Peart passed away a year or so ago now, they put it back up on Netflix. I think it's still there. Talking about it, I just want to watch it again. At one point, he explained that, I mean, he was always thought of as a drummer's drummer. I mean,
oh my God.
He's on the top 5 list with most drummers who know their stuff.
There's no
He's
doubt
somewhere
about that.
in there. Even he wanted to get better towards the end. He took lessons from, I forget who it was, but just the way he moved his wrists and just the movement of the sticks themselves. He concerned himself with that aspect of his drumming. So not just the audio of what he could do, but just visually how it looked, especially in concert. That was something he concerned himself with.
Absolutely true. He's definitely in my top 5. He was incredible. The other one was John Bonham. I think Greenwich Mean Time was set to John. He was just this incredible powerhouse. The microphones of the day couldn't even capture it. He hit the drums and the cymbals so damn hard. Mm-hmm. Go back to the first and the second record and listen when he hits the splash. Okay. It goes and it phase shifts. That wasn't an effect. He blew the mic. He blew the snot out of the mic. Is what happened. It's been commented on. He was just such a powerhouse, and his syncopation, his timing was wild. Some of the later stuff in Presence and the double album before that, the timing and the changing of the timing and back to this timing, and he did it chewing gum and looking like he was bored out of his mind, like Keith Emerson of Emerson, Lake and Palmer playing the keyboards, 2 keyboards at once. Cracking gum, like, I wonder what I'm going to watch on TV tonight. And, these guys are just so good.
Was it the drugs? Is that why they were able to do it, do you think? They all were on them. So you have to think with some, it's like, well, maybe it was able to help them get to a place where they can do all this and make it look as though they are in another sphere. Because maybe they were mentally.
It gets you into a zone. Because we've all had a drink and we've all been out, and you get into a zone. If you're dancing, all of a sudden you're in your dance zone. Well, musicians, they get into their playing zone. I was one of those guys. I was just good enough to be in local bands, never good enough to be in a big band. My local band opened for the Outlaws one year at the Flower Festival, which is equivalent to the Porterville Fair in Lompoc. And what was the question again?
Talking about drugs.
Oh, yeah. And I could never. That is not an ironic comment, Pesto. And I'm just 67 is the problem. No, I was not that guy. Every other guy in the band I was in was that guy. Little hit, and then, off they went. When I did, the one time or 2 times I tried that, I couldn't find my butt with either hand. I played terribly. Terribly. A lot of those guys, that's what they need. I need to pay attention, and I can't do that like that. So I think my answer is it depends on the rhetorical you.
Yeah, and unfortunately, in many cases, you can't ask those artists anymore because gone way too soon.
That's a subject for a podcast. I have.